Hello, today we're going to try to draw the letter F using centimeters, but you may use any measurements you would like. This is just, these measurements are just to go ahead and illustrate the perspective, 1-point perspective, and you can use any measurement, so you can also change your perspective point. We're going to use our perspective point to the bottom left corner. Our perspective point. Okay. Perspective point. We're going to go about 10 centimeters to the inside. Now I have done other letterings. I'm doing the alphabet. At the same time, I'm adding characters, cartoon characters to it, just to make it a little more interesting. So I would encourage you to try. And like I said, you can change the measurements yourselves if you would like. So we're going to go and use 1 centimeter as our measurement. For the vertical and the horizontal, and also the diagonals. So we're going to go ahead and draw our lines, and we're going to make a 5 by 5 centimeters. So right now I'm just drawing the lines without the vertical lines, without any concern. We'll go ahead and set them up in just a minute. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start. Let's go probably about, let's see, I'll tell you right now. Let's go about 8 centimeters down. So from the edge of the paper down 8 centimeters, let's go 6 centimeters. Again, it doesn't matter what you use, any measurements you use, but if this is the first time that you're doing it, follow it with me. And then once you get experience, you can go ahead and use any measurements you desire. And depending on the measurement placement, will give you the effect of the letter, tilting, diagonal, inclinating, whatever the case might be. Okay, let's see. Let's just make sure we have 6 there, 6 here, and now we're ready to do our centimeters, our horizontal arms. Okay, I'm a little lost there. Okay, no problem. We got it. The nice thing about doing this work here. Now, when you're commissioned to do work, then you have to follow strict requirements. So now we have our So now we have our measurements. We can erase this vertical lines now. Just make sure you hold your paper down tight. Again, we're going to draw the letter F with some cartoon characters representing the letter F. I've done A, B, C, D, E. It's going to be F. And at the same time, we're using color schemes. Warm, cool, complementaries, analogous, split complementaries, monochromes. And with that, we're also using the tints, which are the lighter colors, and the in-between down to the shades. Okay, So now we'll clean it up a little bit here. So that's the framing that we have. Now, those of you that are into computer programs, well, you can apply once you understand the concept. You know, the programs do everything for you, but you can learn it on your own if you want. So here's the letter F. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna use a smaller ruler now. Here's the letter F. We're using the verticals, the horizontals, and sometimes you're gonna need the middle one, like the E. Or here for the F, we're gonna use this one here. Okay, so now we're going to outline this one, and then we will do it. We're gonna follow the block lettering. Now the center arm, the horizontal center arm, could be up to here or here, whichever you would like. But you also want to keep the character of the letter. Okay. Now, I'm a retired art teacher, and I did 30 years at the high school. I did 5 years elementary, and then 6 years sixth grade. And believe it or not, with patience and teaching the students the measurements, in this case where we're using centimeters, which is easier than having to deal with the inch, half inch, eighth, quarters, 3/4, and so on. With the centimeter, with a metric, we deal with tenths. So now we have the letter F. I'm going to use a regular pencil to erase the lines. But you'd be surprised. Oh man, those 6th grade kids did fantastic work. And those that had trouble with math or following instructions, they did pretty good, very good. Eventually, by the end of the school year, we were working with values and perspective, 1 point, 2 point, and so on. So now we're gonna go from every corner of the letter to the vanishing point, bottom corner, and we try to keep it as straight as possible. Keep it light, because we're going to give it depth. Right now it's going to infinity. You know, the vanishing point is a point that takes you forever. And as we all know, there's no end to the universe, but we're going to give this letter a depth. And what I'm doing is I'm using the corners as a guide. If nothing gets in the way, I go to the vanishing point. But in this case, for example, in my mind, since I've done it a long time, you know, I'm going in my mind like a radar. I look for the corners, and it's this one, for example. I can go and I hit something, I stop. If I start over here, I can't do that because it's a solid letter and you wouldn't be able to see that. So now I look for another corner. I can't do this one because it's inside the letter, so I don't do it. Then I do this one, and this one does go to the vanishing point. Okay, so I look and see. I think I have all the corners. But for visual purposes, I'm going to, that's a nice thing about art that you can do. You change things for your needs. And in this case, we're going to go in depth. Is like, for example, looking at this eraser. Right now we're looking at it from up top, but now we're going to be able to see the side of it, of this letter, the side. And as you can see, this eraser doesn't go forever like it does here, so I'm going to go down a certain depth. And in this case, again, you can change it any way you want. You can do it any way you want, but I'm going to go down with 2 centimeters. So I'm going to make a point from the edge of the letter down to the left, make a dot, and a point, and then again, and then I line up my 2 dots so that I can draw my line segment. So now what I've done is I've copied this here over here in the back. Now I can see coming down, then it turns out this way. So now, since I don't have a T-square, I can use my do it visually. I line up my ruler with that, try to bring it down, and then the intersection, this corner is this corner, and I look and see, and it looks pretty good to me here. So now this here is this here. But now, as you can see, this one here continues on, and the illusion doesn't look very good. So I'm just gonna make one depth differently to the corner of this so they don't match. So I'm gonna go maybe, again, I'm making this up. We can do it mathematically, but that's not the case here. I'm just gonna visually go 1.5 just for visual purposes. Okay, so now I line up to get this corner here. So now I get that, and I erase this. Now I'm putting pressure on my eraser because my lines are a little darker for you guys to see it on the screen. And I erase this now. Instead of going to infinity forever, I have depth to it. And then also I've created the illusion of it stopping here. Okay, so here at the end. Now you can imagine having a set of letters together and then create the illusion of depth. Now this vanishing point can be anywhere. This vanishing point can be anywhere. You can put it here, here. It doesn't have to be on the corner. It can be anywhere you want. And it would change this. Now I went ahead and did the 2 centimeter measurement to the left side. But what if I had done it this way? Well, it would change the visual illusion of the depth here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and draw, let's say, a falcon onto the side. So in this side, we're going to draw a falcon, a cartoon falcon to the side. Now, again, it's just for fun. Okay, so I'm going to draw, let's say, a flying falcon, maybe. It doesn't have to be perfect either, because we're having fun. This is just a drawing, and I sketch it in. As quickly as possible here. And another thing that we want to try to get used to is that when we look at objects, that we look at objects as geometrical shapes, so that we put them together. And these geometrical shapes, without, like for example, the falcon is going to be ovals, diagonals, and so on. And again, like I said, it's just a cartoon. It's not a real representation of a falcon. It's not a realistic falcon. So it's going to be a little strange looking, and it's just for fun. Okay, so now we go ahead and start giving it some definition. Okay, and we kind of at least place the parts in the right spot, the right places, and let's just hope it doesn't start looking like a pigeon. And if it does, well, instead for bird, for falcon, we'll just call it flying. F for flying. Okay, so now we go ahead and start defining it a little better. And now as we're going along, I've had several people ask me, well, what's the big deal with YouTube that you want us to subscribe, comment, and likes? Well, in YouTube, they keep track of how many people view the work, and how many seconds and how many minutes, and they keep track of everything. And the more people that look into it and comment, okay, And the longer we look at the films, the better chances we are of more people seeing it. And since I'm a retired teacher, I would like to all of you to get a chance to see and experience some of the drawings so that you can try. And like I said, if my 6th graders could do it, you can do it. And if not, but we try. We try. That's the fun part, that we can try. Okay? So try and see if you can. And the more we practice, the better things will get. And again, it's just a cartoon here. It's not a realistic representation of a falcon. Okay. So now we just go ahead and again, we're not gonna add all in each feather. Okay, so that kind of gives us a little bit of a falcon. Again, it's just a cartoon. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see if we can draw fish, cartoon fish. Okay, so now here we go. We're going to draw a cartoon fish just for fun. And the fish, I think that we can do it, maybe we can do it here. Okay, so now we're going to draw a little fish here at the bottom. It's just a cartoon. Again, it's not a real fish. We're just making it up as we go along. And again, geometrical shapes, rectangles, squares, you know, whatever you can imagine seeing. And the fish is independent to the falcon, so don't get excited. They're just fun pictures that we're doing here. There's not any specific type of fish or falcon. Okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and get them a little more definite with our fish eyes. Now also on the YouTubes, I would like, again, they would like for you to subscribe, like, and comment, because again, we also have to have a certain amount of time. Okay, so we would appreciate it if your support. If you like, if you see something that you don't like or don't like, make a comment on it. I mean, we're here to learn. I'm learning a lot. Yeah. I'm an old man, and we didn't grow up with computers and all these beautiful programs that we have now. Okay? And just for fun, we're going to go ahead and draw a cartoon flower. Okay? A cartoon flower for the picture here. We'll draw maybe one over here that is sticking out, and we'll draw like a kind of a daisy, and it's behind the letter over here. Okay. And maybe the flower stem comes out here somewhere. And then maybe we can see, well, let's see if we can draw the petals. So I'm gonna go ahead and again, this is not a realistic representation of a daisy, it's just a cartoon flower. And as we draw, we want to keep proportion, the perspective, even though it's a cartoon. And being a cartoon, we can add any colors we want, have fun with it. Okay. And you know what? We'll use surrealistic approach now. Surrealistic approach is make believe, dream kind, and we just see parts of the flower over here in the back. So let's see how it works out. Okay, and here's a little stem, and then we lose another leaf out to the back side. Let's see, we can do it over here. That's a long leaf. We can bring this one down a little bit here. Here you go. Maybe a little wheat here. And then for a little fish, we'll go ahead and give him some bubbles in just a minute. You know what? Let's give the... Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to outline the letter F with the marker. And what I like to do is I like to get the corners and make a dot in the corners so that I don't go past the corners. And that gives me a sign, hey, stop, don't go no more. So let's see how it goes. Line them up. Draw. I'm going to start from the top down. This way I don't go over the draw. Draw. And again, it's not easy. You know, I see the other people drawing on YouTube, and they're going really fast and speed up the timing and all that. And if we're trying to draw, to learn to draw, well, this is what I want you guys to learn to draw. Now you say, well, what does drawing have to do with letters? Well, to me, it's the training process. It's like kids ask me, what do I need to study? Science, trigonometry, physics, if I'm not going to use it in life. Well, we might not use it in life, but it does help our brain develop. Now, that's my theory as a teacher. Okay? Because I used to think the same way. It's just a process where we mature the brain that maybe it'll help you think better. Once we have this outline, I'll be moving the paper around. And you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. Give yourself a chance to look at it and see if you learn something. I'm going to again, these are not realistic representations. I myself like to do really photographic kind of work. As an art teacher, we should be able to do many types of styles. Again, I ask you to subscribe, like, and comment. You know, I've had some people ask me, well, what is the big deal about subscribing? Well, if you subscribe, again, YouTube keeps track of it. And then also, you get notifications. If you like what you see, you get a notification that I am going to upload a film, or I uploaded a film. I don't know when you are seeing this, but we just had a big cold front come in and broke record in our city. 12 inches of snow. The last time I saw snow was about 20 something years ago. And we lost light, we lost the water, had pipes break. So I hadn't been able to do any artwork or download because I had to fix pipes, fix the pipes and other things that I think I helped about 4 people trying to stop leaks. The pipes broke. So we're just getting out of that big storm. This was in about a week and a half ago. And then this year in April, 2020 April, we had huge hailstone stones that fell from the sky. Made holes in my roof, my house roof. That was another experience. As you can see here, I'm not actually following all the pencil lines strictly. I am editing as I go along. And again, I'm not using the whole set of feathers on my Falcon. It's supposed to be a Falcon. Again, it's a cartoon. Okay, now let's see our little fish here. And if you really want to, you should try to draw. It's kind of a therapy, you know, it relaxes. Well, it relaxes me. Time flies. Okay. Looks más o menos pretty good here. Now we can go ahead and try to erase pencil lines. Oops, let's see. Over here we can. And then we'll go ahead and color it. Hold your paper tight. Make sure your fingers are clean. And again, please take time to look. Try to give us a break and not stop watching because they keep track of everything. I need your support. Be patient. And then so that maybe YouTube will show my films, my videos, not films. I'm an old man, so before there were films, now they're videos. So now we're going to go into the coloring part, and I'm going to use green colors. Well, let's say cool colors for the letter F. The letter F, we're going to use cool colors. And I'm going to use a variation of blues. I'm going to start out with lights. Start out with lights. And it's a good idea to get a piece of paper so you can rest your hand on. And on the materials, it's just regular. Oh, that's another thing. I'm just using regular things that you guys can have at home. I'm going to move my paper so that it'll be easier for me to color. Okay, now I'm going to fold this a little bit here. Oh, that's all right. So now, in theory, in my case, I don't want to see pencil strokes, so it doesn't really matter which way I go, because in theory, I shouldn't see the pencil strokes. Now, using color pencils, it's another experience. Because I'll just go ahead and fold my tapes here so I don't get stuck. Now I'm going to change the variation of my colors. And the reason I like color pencils is because you can experiment with color pencils and then take that experience and try to apply it to your oils, watercolors, acrylics, if you're to airbrushing, you know, silk screening, the computer programs. There's a lot of beautiful programs. Okay, I'm gonna darken or intensify the blue at the tips just to create variation. Now I'm looking to see that I have transitions. Transitions is moving from one to the other. There you go. And I'm going to add a little bit of a darker blue. Tips, and here's where the transition that I try to change from one to the other by applying pressure and looking constantly to see what effects I get. I'll tell you one thing, it's another thing that affects us artists is the sight. My sight started changing where I couldn't see clearly about the age of 45. I had never worn glasses. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Then my arms got too short to focus things, and then I had to get glasses. And just 3 days ago, I turned 68. And for 68, I can see pretty good so far. So now on the opposite side, again, keeping it to the cool colors, blue with cool colors, I'm going to add a little green. And here the color selection is yours. You can add any colors you want. Now I could have done this on watercolor paper, you know, or gouache, or now the edges of the letter, I'm gonna add a little bit of green, kind of darken the green, some intensified a little bit, then have a transition of it. Intensified up on the top part a little bit, and then transition. I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow, and let's see what happens. Up here the corners. Okay. Now you can never say, well, I'm done. How does it look? Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Let's go now and work on the Falcon. Let's take browns. And as a matter of fact, I took a picture of a falcon. I guess it was a falcon or a hawk that flew to the back side of the yard. And he had caught a pigeon. A pigeon. Okay, we're gonna go with a light brown for our falcon. So what I like to do is apply a tint. I think that if this was an oil paint, it would be a tint. So at the same time, it covers some of the white areas of the paper. And what I'm trying to do, even though it's a cartoon, I'm going to try to give it a little dimension. Again, be patient. Look at the effects of the colors. It is like magic to me, because you have a white paper and, you know, artists come up with, you know, on a canvas or the screen, and come up with images from nowhere. And the only thing bothers me is that if you're a musician, a singer, all they have to do is come up with one song and it becomes a hit for the rest of their life. And we as artists have to come up with something new every time. I don't think it's fair, but well, life is not fair. So we as artists have to come up with something new every time. People are expecting, hey, what do you have different? So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to give it some color perspective here. Perspective in the sense of depth and a little more dimension. So now I'm going to take some of the darker brown and I'm going to go ahead and add it to the wing here. And as you're doing, you're looking and seeing, hey, what can I be doing to make it a little more interesting? And I hope that you're paying attention to the changes of the surface of the forms, of the shapes, as we add color to it. We do the tail of it. And we'll add one there. One extra one. And we'll add a little bit of yellow here to the edges of the tips of the wing, of the feathers here. Again, be patient. And then we'll kind of simulate little feathers here. We've got a little bit of black color here, or blue. Just randomly. Okay, we'll come back to it later. Let's see. And now let's go to the fishy. Let's go ahead and color the fish orange with orange colors for now. Okay, let's see. Again, oranges, the reds. Here we go. We use the light color first. Again, they're not real. These are cartoons. Kind of cartoons. Give it a contrasting color blue. Now let's try to give it some dimension here. Kind of a little roundness there. Let's see if I can do the dark orange in here. Yellow for our flower. Again, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. It helps us a lot. Those of us that are trying to do videos for you guys to enjoy and maybe learn, which I hope you learn, get ideas as you are looking. I'm going to add a little bit of dimension to our petals here. Let's add a little bit of grass here. We mix a little bit of yellow onto the green. A little light brown here. Now let's go ahead and do the shading of the F here. We're gonna add the blue here to the back side. Fade it out here. Again, we're just playing around with colors and contrast. I'm going to add a little more here on the corners. Add a little bit of blue over here to the bird. Balance it out with the blues here and blue over here. Now the sky. And maybe a little bit of blue for the fish. A little bit of water there. Came out to be a little strange fish. Okay, now here we'll go ahead and add a bit of blue here just for contrast. Create some of this vanishing lines. Now we'll go ahead and create a little bit of a little pattern here. Let's see, we'll go with maybe we're just going to create a graphic pattern here. You can use a ruler to stop. And let's see, one more thing and then we'll call it done. And with that, I think we will call it finished. I think we're done, and we'll call it finished. Thank you, and have a good day.